is to work, and everybody is a jerk, because they all hate their lives.
Hey everyone, it's Movie Lover 120 here, and a few weeks ago, I saw probably the worst and most life-scarring comedy movie ever made. And by life-scarring, I don't mean that in a good way. I'll give you a hint at what the movie is by this one clip from Hell alone.
Daddy, would you like some sausage? Daddy, would you like some sausages? Daddy, would you like some sausage?
Yeah. The movie is called Freddy Got Fingered. I watched this movie and it is easily the worst comedy you'll probably ever find. Even worse than any Adam Sandler comedy that came out before Uncut Gems. Yes, guys, any Adam Sandler film I would watch over this. But what is this movie about? Well, it's about this 20-year-old, mentally immature, unstable, and aspiring animator Gordon, who leaves his home in Oregon to sell his ideas to Hollywood. After rightfully being told they are possibly the stupid ideas ever and that he needs to spend time rethinking them, he moves back home. But his father, never a kind man but easily the only likable character in the movie, escalates his mean treatment of his rather unconventional son. Meanwhile, Gord has fallen for Betty, a not attractive and irritating doctor at a hospital where his friend is staying, after Gord causes injury. She happens to use a wheelchair and delights, believe it or not, in having her paralyzed legs beaten with a bamboo cane. Her sexual aggression intimidates them. Gord's family goes to a psychiatrist and he lies to her that his father molests Gord's brother, Freddy. Gord neglects to mention that Freddy is 25. Soon, Gord has the house to himself and comes up with an award-winning animated series, according to the world in that movie, Zebras in America, based on his own family. All this is really a framework in which Tom Green hates his usual crazy stunts, which he commonly did in the Tom Green Show. Here's why this film is just horrifying from start to finish. 1. It contains extremely vulgar and extreme amounts of gross-out humor that isn't funny, making the film literally inappropriate for any ages, even inappropriate for adults. Like, let's see, extreme amounts of gore, animal abuse, and some really horrifying deaths because, apparently, director, believe it or not, Tom Green actually finds that stuff funny. Seriously, even movies and TV shows that include such content know how to handle it in a tasteful and respectful manner. The acting is just bad and hammy, but Tom Green's acting is just flat out abysmal. Some poorly written story and dialogue. And oh dear God, the main character, Gord, is a flat out... I'll get to Gord in a minute, guys, but... And there's this scene that makes no sense of any kind where Gord's going, I'm the backwards man, the backwards man, the backwards man. I can walk backwards fast as you can. I can walk backwards fast as you can. I can walk backwards fast as you can. Repeatedly. When he's wearing a suit backwards. Some flat characterization, especially with Gord. The poster for this movie looks so ridiculous. And Gord tends to literally say things twice, which is excruciating and annoying. And of course, the cartoons that Gord drew are very poorly animated. There's also this frequent running, disturbing running gag of this boy who's actually a kid, guys, repeatedly getting injured brutally on camera And you even see him bleeding a few times. Yeah. Because that'll bring the laughs. And eventually gets killed in a crazily gory fashion at the very end of the movie, which is, and it's possibly one of the cruelest gags to be put into a film. The title not only even sounds inappropriate, but it's misleading. Like, Freddy's only in the film for about 5 minutes and doesn't even get sexually assaulted. All it just focuses on is Gord pursuing his dream to be a cartoonist. Like I already mentioned, and there's a disturbing scene where the children are all inside the institute, and they're wondering about the cartoon music playing. And believe it or not, they are watching the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yeah, let's show a bunch of mentally damaged children living in an institute a horror film called The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is not for kids at all. In fact, apparently director James Gunn this was one of the many tweets that got James Gunn fired before he got rehired anyways. Now let's get to the most horrible quality of this movie. Oh dear God, I have a new nightmare, and his name is Gordon Brody. For those of you who don't know, he's the main character in this film, who Tom Green plays. Yeah, he's the main character, or what we're believed to be is the main character, but he acts more like an anti-hero, and he shouldn't even be a protagonist. He feels more like an antagonist in this movie. This character is such an embarrassment of Tom Green's career. And, oh, God, he has such a lack of disrespect to animals, adding on top of highly disturbing fetishes like zoophilia. And guys, I'm gonna get a bit graphic with this talk here, so if you are not 18 and up, don't watch the rest of this review, because I'm about to say just talk about some really graphic parts. Around the beginning of the movie, there's a scene where Gord plays with a horse. It says, "Look at me, Daddy, I'm a farmer." It's cringeworthy. It's horrendous. It's such bestiality. He even does the same thing with the elephant near the end. Oh, dear God. I don't know why. I wish this were not in a film. Another disturbing thing he does, when he's visiting his friend in the hospital, this woman's about to give birth in the same room, and guess what he does? He goes up to the woman giving birth, decides to be a doctor, handles the whole situation horribly, causes blood to spray all over the other patients in the room, and once the baby is somehow delivered, he takes the cord it's attached to, bites it, and swings it for fun. Now, trust me, guys, that's probably the first time I actually threw up watching a film. The cartoons he draws are criminally animated, despite some of the drawings being well done. He acts childish, annoying, and immature towards others. Like I've already mentioned, he repeats the same quotes twice. And he treats his poor father horribly. The movie tries to make him come off as this unlikable jerk, but honestly, knowing the idiot his son is, you can see why he acts that way. You can see why he can act abusive. It's because he has a horrible child to deal with. That screws up his life, screws up his marriage, gets his actually mature son taken away from him. Yeah. The redeeming qualities is the zebras in America seeing the gibberish guys yelling really good jokes in the film. Tom Green actually admitted he was actually glad to receive all the Razzies. And at the end of the movie, there is actually one funny gag where a sign reads, "When the is this movie going to end?" This was pretty much me watching the ending of the film. There is a PG cut on the VHS and DVD, and despite only lasting for 3 minutes, it's much funnier, eliminates almost everything inappropriate and not funny about the movie. And I guess there was actually one funny scene of his immature antics where Gord's in the shower and he's wearing his scuba gear and retaining the soap on a rope as a treasure, which did kind of get a bit of a laugh, but other than that, Freddy Got Fingered is a horrible, disgusting, nightmare-fueled mess from hell. Do not watch it. You will forever regret even going near this film. I sure as hell do. So if you want to know how I would rank Freddy Got Fingered, here's how I would rank this atrocity that should be burned. I am so giving Freddy Got Fingered a 0 out of damn 10. Thank freaking God I'm done reviewing Freddy Got Fingered. I don't want to witness that movie again. So, ma'am, Phantom Strider talked about this in its number one worst movie of all time. Nostalgia critics even reviewed it. And now I've reviewed it. I wonder what else this thing's gonna claim next. I have seen disturbing stuff that's actually good and handled right, and this is not one of them. But anyway, guys, that'll be it for this review. Thank you all for watching, and if you like this and want to see more, and don't forget to like and subscribe to Movie Lover 120.